Vicky, tell me a bit about yourself.
Well, I was born in 1819, many years ago. I was born in Kensington Palace. I was crowned Queen of England in 1838, and in 1840 I married my darling Alberto. I was often pictured as a miserable old lady who wore black for 30 years. However, this was due to the fact that the cameras in those days took ages to take a picture, and therefore, when it did flash that camera and did take a picture, I was often bored and fed up, so I was pictured like this. However, I carry on smiling, and am a pleasant, lively woman.
And I hear you have a favourite saying.
Well, I do like to go on the roll of others and say, we are not amused. I first said it when the admirable Maxis put a hanky on his beard and blew out his cheeks. As you can gather, we were not amused.
I hear your family had some troubles conceiving a baby boy, an heir to the throne.
Yes, my uncles could not produce a boy. The only reason why I got the throne was because they couldn't produce a boy. I was just never enough for them.
And there were 6 attempts to assassinate you.
7, actually.
Sorry. What was your relationship like with Albert?
Well, I certainly did not let him boss me around.
I'm sure.
I have always been a lady of great intelligence, wit, and bravery. I stood up to Alberto when he attempted to dominate. I am a lady of great authority. It is quite funny, really. Once I got so angry with him, he fled to his own apartments where he locked himself up.
And tell me a little bit about Albert's death.
Albert died of typhoid!
No, I didn't mean to upset you, Vicky. Don't worry. Calm down.
I've been upset for 10 years now. 10 years since Albert died. That is why I wear all black. Apart from this, my best robes.
It's okay. So why did you have a major role in the advancement of women?
Well, before I came to the throne, my uncles were not able to have sons, and instead his next heir obtained the crown and ruled solely over England. I married my darling Albert in 1840. It was one of the best days of my life, except my coronation, of course. I dominated the household and began to make people realize that men were not the more important than women. I would often drive Albert to such insanity that he would storm out of the house into our other apartments to take a break from my bossy ways. However, this represented that women had more power than once thought. I suffered seven assassin attempts, but managed to escape them every time. This clearly shows that the shooters wanted to be more like me and were jealous of my glorious power and wisdom. Although I was often portrayed as a mournful woman, I was actually quite easily amused, and even created my own saying, "We are not amused," which is often reenacted today.
Of course.
I provided entertainment and joy at royal dinners and represented my half-hearted, witty side. This would have made others believe how great my sense of humour was, and would have encouraged the royals to crown more women to the throne, like me. I was on the throne for 50 years. Yes, that's right. I had a golden jubilee. That was a staggering amount of time for a woman to be queen. I managed to get through the sad times when my darling Albert passed away. I was an inspiration to us all, and my reign shall continue to be remembered forever.
But first I was affiliated to the Kings. I was not the long-awaited Lloyd, and the next heir to the throne seemed much expected. And so I was discarded, and my mother was married. As a child, I took great interest in languages, and I was very studious. It was only before my father died when I had the real shot at the throne. But I had to my mother had prayed for and my father had expected, I was a disappointment. I was the bastard child. My mother was beheaded, not able to produce a son for the heir, an heir for Henry, but I grew to be very studious and virtuous for my father. I rose from being an outcast to being the first ever Queen of England. This showed you could be a woman in power, and I was for 45 years. I think I was so successful because I was known as the Virgin Queen. I never married. Many noblemen and ambassadors wooed me, but there was only one love in my life, England. I owed it to myself and the people of the great nation to be totally dedicated to improving the lives of women and men all over England. I also have a very, very strong character. My cunning and courage gave me the most support. After my sister Mary died, I came to the throne. The people of England were looking for someone with intellect and dedication. A monarch who was very, very different to all of the other Tudor kings and queens. I was the queen who ended the Tudor period. I was the very much different monarchy.
So were there no men in your life?
Well, I did have 19 men advisors that I would consult with from a day-to-day position. I also worked very closely with Parliament. It would be a bad idea to fall out with the representatives of the public in government. I made sure any move I made was a clever one and one that the people would agree with. I did this by consulting my advisors regularly.
If you had something to say to the women of this day and age, what would it be?
I said this phrase on the 8th of August 1588 to Lloyd. I know I have the body but of a weak and feeble woman, but I have a heart and a stomach of a king, and of King of England too. Be who you have to be, just to make sure you achieve your goal. I was the very much different monarchy.
You did that again? Sorry, could you like me to tell me you did the wrong as well?
No, not really.
I was on the throne for 50 years. Yes, that's
What,
right.
50?
Let's start again. Okay, let's stop.